All right, hello class. So today we're going to be using pastels to paint a forest. So you should have all these materials in front of you. You should have two pieces of tone paper. We're going to be using both. We're going to be using one for the rough draft and then one for the final. So for now, we can just put the one for the final to the side. So we're going to be doing thumbnails to begin. Thumbnails are tiny sketches to just kind of get an idea of what you want to make. You can use any color that you want. I'm gonna, just because I like to use like a kind of fun color, I'm gonna use blue. And then I'm going to draw 4 boxes. And remember, the paper is about 8.5 by 11, so you could do either landscape or horizontal. So I'm gonna do 2 that are landscape, and then 2 that are vertical. And these are just idea sketches, so they don't have to be perfect. They can just be really sketchy. It's just to get an idea of what you want to make. Because I'm not exactly sure how I want my forest to look. So it's good to have some little squares here to test out the composition and kind of get an idea of what I want my finished pastel drawing to look like. So I'm just going to start sketching for ideas, and remember, these just can be really sketchy. It's kind of just to get a broad idea of kind of what you want to do. You can just use your favorite color pastel that you want to use, or you can also use multiple colors. But again, we're just doing sketches right now, so you don't have to use all, it doesn't have to be a finished drawing. So this one I have trees, and then I have mountains in the background. Cool. All right, so now I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm going to try one that's vertical. So let's see, now this one I want to do a mountain, like kind of like a mountain you'd see in Yosemite. And remember, these are pastels, so they can blend really easily. So that's why we have some of these materials here. You can use either this brush or the paper towels to blend. You can just kind of scrub it, and that will blend your pastels. You can use your fingers too, but your hands will get really messy if you do that. But feel free to do that if you want as well. So that's using the brush, and then you can also use paper towel. They both work about the same. I kind of like using the brush. I think it's a little bit easier. Cool, so I got that one done. Let's go on to the next sketch. It's really helpful to do these because it kind of helps you to visualize what you want your painting to look like. So now I'm going to do, let's see, a river like that. The coast, and then trees, and I'll color those. Cool, so that's that one. Can blend it a little bit. Another really cool thing about doing these sketches is that when you're all done with your drawings today, you'll end up having 4 sketches and then 1 final. So you'll end up having 5 artworks. So it's kind of cool to make a lot of things. So if you give your final painting to a friend, you can still have your sketches to have still. And then the next one, that, mountains, and then a sunset. Okay, cool. So those are our sketches. And your art teacher for today, Jason, he can go ahead and pause the video if you'd like and give you guys some time to work on the sketches a little bit more. And then maybe in about 10 more minutes, you guys can start working on the final drawing. We'll use all the colors for that. So I'll give you guys some time to work on sketches. Cool, have fun. All right, cool. So now that we've done our sketches, now we can move on to our final piece. We're going to use the whole paper for this. Some things that you want to think about before you start is if you want to have a border. So if you want to have a border, something really easy you can do is just try to line up to the edge of the paper as best you can. And then you can just draw a line, another line, and one more. So now you have a nice little border, and we're going to work inside this square. Okay, so I use blue for my sketches, but now that I'm working on the final one, I want the colors to be a little bit more accurate. So I'm going to keep using this kind of brown color. But whatever color you want to use for the sketching part, you can do. Pretty much we're going to be sketching, and then we're going to keep refining it more and more to add a lot more details, and so it's really detailed. So you guys can take a look at your sketches and see which one you want to do. And I really like how this one turned out, but I wish it would have been horizontal. So I'm actually going to do this sketch, but I'm going to make it horizontal. So I'm going to change it a little bit. So I'm going to keep this here while I sketch so I can look at it. So I really like how the mountain is like that, and then like that, and then there's mountains near it, like that. Kind of the face of the mountain here. Details. So again, we're just doing the sketch first, and then we're going to add a lot more colors over it. I think I'm going to put a little meadow on the ground, and then I'm just going to kind of do that to show that there's trees. Okay, so that's kind of the general sketch that I'm doing. So now I'm just going to keep adding more details. So I'm going to think in simple color blocks first. So when we think of a meadow, I tend to think of like yellow-green, so I'm going to get a nice yellow-green color. Just kind of color all of it. Doesn't have to be blended so perfectly when you color, because we're going to use the brush to blend it. So we got the color there. Going to use my brush here, and that's a good way to blend. Okay, so we got that, and now for the trees, I think of like a dark green. So I'm gonna color that in here. Doesn't have to be perfect yet. I'm just gonna kind of draw it into like triangular shapes here for the trees, because a tree's kind of like a triangle. When you think of like those forest trees. Okay, and then again, I'm going to blend it. We're using this toned paper, so our drawings are going to have really cool texture. The paper's textured, so we can get this really cool texture that looks really cool with pastels. So now for the mountain. Rocks are kind of tricky to find what color it is, but I tend to think of it as kind of tan, kind of gray, maybe a little bit of blues. So I'm going to kind of start drawing that in. I'm thinking this is where the light's hitting it, so it's going to be brighter here. Maybe brighter here also, and there too. Then I'm going to get a kind of a gray. This is just a medium gray. And it's going to color all the areas that I missed. This is kind of where the shadows are on the mountain. Cool, so now that I've done that, I'm going to blend everything. I'm going to kind of blend it with the other colors. When you blend two different colors together, you make a new color, so it kind of makes the colors a little bit more exciting for the drawing. And now for the sky, I'm just gonna kind of want a blue sky, so I'm gonna start coloring in blue. So after using your brush, it's probably pretty dirty now. So if you want to keep a color really bright, you'll want to use a paper towel so that it's not mixing other colors on it. So I'm just going to use the paper towel here. So now we have everything kind of drawn in. So now all that we have to do is add as many details as you want. So for example, we can put kind of a shadow for the trees. Gonna get like a forest green color, kind of where the base of the trees are, kind of have shadows. And as I'm drawing more and more, I'm gonna not blend as much so that we can kind of have some cool texture. So like that. Maybe put like a bluish green on there, add some color for the trees, like that. So yeah, we're just adding details now. We've done all the hard work, so now we kind of just get to have fun and add details. The meadow, maybe the sun's hitting it, maybe there's some yellow in the meadow, so I'm gonna get some yellow. This kind of color like that. And maybe a little bit of this mint green for the trees on the kind of the top part. Okay. For the mountains, maybe there's a shadow behind it. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow there. Let's see, maybe a little bit of a blue. And because I'm using blue, I'm gonna actually blend this and it'll kind of blend with the colors that are already there, which will be cool. So I'm just gonna get some blue on the bottom here. Use my brush and just kind of shade it like that. Okay. I want to refine the trees a little bit, so I'm going to add more green. Okay. Maybe some highlights on the mountains. If you ever are not sure what to do, a good thing to do is just add highlights and shadows. So think about where the sun is. So maybe the sun's on the mountain there. And the parts where the mountain's kind of with the sun, you can do some yellow. Add some more yellow for the trees. For parts that you want to be darker, and not as like bright of a color, that's a good area to use the brush because it's already got a lot of different colors. So the only times where you don't want to use something that's really dirty already is if you want a really bright color, like the yellow for the mountain. I wouldn't want to do that because that would kind of make the yellow go away. All right, so there's a little bit more I could do, but I want to give you guys a lot of time to work on your drawings, so I'll go ahead and end it here. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask Jason. If you need any more of these materials, we'll have some extras at the front, so Jason can get you some more paper towels or brushes if you need it. But yeah, have fun, guys. Excited to see what your work looks like.